Hey, welcome back. I'm Todd Smith with another video teaching you how to make money and achieve financial freedom with real estate investing. Over the years, I've been blessed to teach tens of thousands of investors from newbies to millionaires, so I know I can help you too. But before we get into today's topic, if you haven't done so already, I just want to remind you to check out my free 90-minute online training class about how to buy houses without cash or credit at @realestateCashflowSecrets.com. I'll put that link and maybe some other resources in the description for this video. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button below this video. And for some reason, YouTube made it harder. So after you hit subscribe, you got to hit the bell and then you got to hit all to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the money-making information that I have to share with you, because I do upload videos regularly. Fair enough? All right, let's get started. In this video, I want to answer the question, how much should my cash offer be for fixing or flipping, or how much should my cash offer be for wholesaling? So those two offers are going to be very similar. So we're actually going to go over a little bit of math here, so this might be a good opportunity for you guys to take some notes, okay? So grab a pen, grab some paper, and take some notes. All right, stop the video if you have to. All right, pause it and then come back to it if you got to, because you're going to want to take some notes. All right, so what you need to know up front, first of all, before you make your offer, is you need to know the after repaired value of the property. So what's this property likely to sell for after you get it fixed up, okay, or after somebody gets it fixed up, if you're going to be wholesaling it to a rehabber or a retailer who's going to do the fix-up work and you're not going to do the fix-up work. But we need to know what this property would likely sell for. What's the fair market value of this property after it gets fixed up, okay? Speaking of fix-up, the second thing we need to know up front is how much is it going to cost to repair this. So you have to have an accurate repair estimate within reason. It doesn't have to be precise to the penny, but you need to have a good idea how much the repairs are going to be on this property. So after you have those two things, then you can plug them into a formula. So basically your offer, which we call the maximum allowable offer, this is for fixing or flipping, or MAO, M-A-O, maximum allowable offer, and this is the offer that you would use for fixing or flipping. All right, and it's 70% times the ARV, which is the after repaired value, minus the repairs. All right, so we already said we know what the house will sell for after it gets fixed up. We know what the repair costs are, right? So then we just need to multiply 70% times the after repair value and subtract out the repairs. That gives us our maximum allowable offer. Now, even if you're going to fix up the property yourself, you don't have to offer the maximum allowable offer. You can offer a little bit less. That's why it's called the maximum allowable offer. Now, why is it 70%? That means if there's 70%, that means we took out 30%, right? What does that 30% represent? Well, 20% of that 30% represents the profit for the person who's going to buy the house, fix it up, and resell it to an owner occupant. Okay, that's your profit, 20%. So if that's a $100,000 house, then what's 20% of $100,000? That would be $20,000, right? That's the minimum you should make if you're going to go through the time and effort to fix up a property and resell it. You should make a minimum of 20%. Now, you can make more than that, obviously, if you offer lower, but that's a minimum amount that you should make, right? So, and then again, it's based on percentage. So if it's a $200,000 house, then 20% of $200,000 would be $40,000. That's how much you should make on that. If it's a $300,000 house, right, then 20% of that is $60,000. So that's what. So the more expensive the house, the more money you should make, right? Now, so that accounts for 20% of the 30% that we took out, right? So now what about the other 10%? Well, the other 10% is going to be eaten up by costs, right? There's always costs in any deal. So you're going to have a small percentage for closing costs. You're going to have a small percentage for holding costs. You're going to have a small percentage of cost of doing business and potentially a cost to borrow money in there. So you're going to have some other costs in there, and you're going to have a little bit of potential cost overruns as well. So we've got some fudge factors built in there because there's always going to be additional costs. So we've got a good 10% built in there for additional costs. All right, so that will help to ensure that you actually get the profit that you're envisioning, right? So that's just realistic. In real life, you do have extra costs. Everything's not just a standard seminar example. Oh, I bought this house for $100,000 and sold it for $120 and I made $20,000. No, not exactly. You're going to have some costs taken out of that $20,000, especially if you were rehabbing it and weren't just wholesaling it or selling a contract. All right. So now I gave you a maximum offer formula, 70% times ARV minus repairs. Okay. Now, first of all, now what would that figure be if you were wholesaling the property? So that formula is going to change slightly if you're wholesaling the property, because it's going to become 70% times ARV minus the repairs, and guess what else you got to subtract out? You got to subtract out your wholesale profit, right? So if you don't subtract out your wholesale profit, you're not going to make any money. All you're doing is just passing on a contract as a charity effort to another investor. So now, for those of you who don't know, wholesaling is basically getting a property under contract at a low price and selling the contract or the property itself for a small markup to another investor who is going to fix up the property. The wholesaler is not fixing up the property. So the rehabber is obviously going to fix up the property so that they can resell it to an owner occupant, somebody who's going to live in the property. Or the wholesaler could be selling it to a landlord, okay, who's going to basically fix up the property and rent it out. But the point is that the wholesaler's not making a big profit relative to the profit that their customer is going to make. So for example, let's say we have this $100,000 house. To make the numbers easy, the ARV, the after repaired value, is going to be $100,000. So this house is going to be worth $100,000 after it gets fixed up, and the repair costs are, let's say the repair costs are $30,000. All right. So if we put that into our maximum allowable offer formula, that's going to be $100,000 times 70%, which is $70,000, minus the repair cost of $30,000. So that brings us down to $40,000, right? So if I was going to be the rehabber that I'm going to buy that house, I know that I can offer $40,000 on that house, fix it up, and still make 20 grand, okay? However, if I'm the wholesaler on that, I got to subtract out also my wholesale profit. So let's say, again, it's $100,000 ARV times 70% is $70,000, and I'm going to subtract out $30,000 in repairs. That brings me to $40,000 for an offer. But oh, I'm a wholesaler, so I got to subtract out my wholesale profit. Let's say that as a wholesaler, I decide I want to make $5,000 on this deal. All right. So I'm going to subtract out from $40,000, I got to subtract out $5,000. That brings me down to $35,000. So that's how much I can offer as a wholesaler on this property. I can offer $35,000, and then I can sell it for what? I'm expecting to make $5,000, so I'm going to sell it for $40,000, right? Which is what my rehabber would have offered themselves anyway. So see how that works out? So just like we have our maximum allowable offer for rehabbers, we have what I call the MWO, the maximum wholesale offer for wholesalers, right? Because that includes subtracting out your wholesale profit. So again, just to recap, the maximum allowable offer for rehabbers or landlords would be MAO equals 70% times ARV minus repairs. For wholesalers, the MWO, maximum wholesale offer, is going to be 70% times ARV minus repairs minus your desired wholesale profit. All right, so now let's talk about another thing. That 70%, is that a hard and fast figure? No, it's not a hard and fast figure, because as the market changes, guess what? After the market crashed and prices were depressed, guess what? I had to start adjusting that 70%, because you don't want to end up paying too much for property and then you can't get them sold. If you're a wholesaler, you can't get them sold to your rehabbers and your landlords, right? So that figure had to come down. So 70%, depending on what market you're in and how depressed the market is, it may come down to 65% or 63%. So those are two figures I used for a while in more depressed markets, 65%, 63%. So you can adjust it based on experience. But if you're making offers the way that I'm training you to make offers, if you offer too high, you can still get out of your contract with no legal ramifications, no financial ramifications, and then come back and make an offer lower and renegotiate. And if the renegotiation doesn't work, then you can walk away with no money lost, right? If the renegotiation does work, then ding, 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 ding. Okay, you took a contract that wasn't performing, and now you've got a contract that you can perform and make $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 or more just by wholesaling a property, okay? Or if you're rehabbing, you're going to take a contract that you couldn't make any money on, and then you're going to increase your profits. So you're taking a contract which is basically a piece of paper that's either going to make you $0 or is going to make you tens of thousands of dollars. So again, use these formulas, but keep in mind the 70% can be adjusted down in depressed markets, and if you're in really hot markets, you may be even able to adjust that number up, right? Because if you're not getting any offers accepted using the 70% rule, and then you see that you're constantly getting beat out by other investors, and you also see that those investors are still able to rehab those properties and sell them to owner occupants because the market's creeping up and up and up, then you might be able to adjust that 70% to 75% or 80%, okay? But start out at 70%, see what your results are, use the techniques that I train you to use contracts that you can get out of without any legal or financial ramifications if you need to, which we call using escape clauses or weasel clauses, and contingencies, okay? They all basically three mean the same thing. And you want to use smart contingencies, right? And we'll talk about contingencies in another video, but basically, as long as you're using the proper contingencies in your contracts, you can get out of them without any ramifications, and then you can adjust your offer formulas as needed for either a depressed market or a hot market. But in a normal market, 70% should work just fine. Hey, thanks again for watching, and don't forget to check out any additional resources that I might have for you in the description section of this video. If you like this video, then show me some love with a heart on Facebook or a thumbs up on YouTube, and leave a comment below to let me know how the video helped you. If you have any real estate investing questions, go ahead and write those in the comments below, and it just may become the topic of my next video. If you know anybody else that might benefit from this video, then go ahead and share it. Be sure to check out my upcoming videos, and until next time, may all your parents have rich children, and may all your children have rich parents.